Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to AerFLIGHT, Flight Operations and Safety Management System. We will now log into AerFLIGHT by entering the username and the password that has been provided. You may enter by either pressing enter or clicking on this arrow. These are the three modules of the AerFLIGHT system. AirSafe and AirQual form the safety and quality management system, and AerOPS is the flight and ground operations system. Before we proceed to these, allow me to show you the settings. These are some user management settings where you can set up roles, permissions, and the users. Each user has a certain set of roles assigned to them, and the roles are connected to permissions. So in this way, each user sees what they need to when they log in. In the system settings, we have alerts. When alerts are generated from the system, you can set up what you want to see and when you want to see them. These are basic preferences like date, format, UTC or local times, and the company logo. In the clock settings, you can manage different clocks. You can have several clocks set up, and you can see these later in the system. And here you set up the different airports, and here you will see an audit trail of all the changes. If you go to My Account, this shows the user an account of their full name, their username, and their code that's been set up in the system. Going into the help provides you details of the software, the version number, the release date, and also provides help on the different modules: AirSafe, AirQual, AerOPS for the flight operations system, and settings. Going back to AerFLIGHT, we shall now explore the flight operations module. So if we click on AerOPS, there are three sub-modules within AerOPS: fleet management, records and training, and the ops board. We'll start with the fleet management. This is a basic setup of the aircraft within the system. These will be required to set up flights. Just a basic minimum is required, and to set them up, you would go into the aircraft. You would have a list of manufacturers, type, and model, and you would add the tail numbers and link them to the manufacturer, the type, and model of the aircraft. You can create new ones by clicking on New. You can edit existing ones by selecting and then selecting Edit, or you may delete by selecting the line and then selecting Delete. If an aircraft is already in use, then you may not delete that. You can set up further details as well for each aircraft by setting up engines, connecting engines to it, setting up the documents for them. Any expired documents would show up in red. Any that are about to expire will show up in yellow. If there is any maintenance for this aircraft, you will see that set up here, and the availability shows the availability of the aircraft. Here it shows the sectors that this aircraft will be flying on the particular days. You may navigate the calendar by clicking the arrows back and forth. So once the aircraft are set up, we now need to set up the crew. So if we go into the records and training submodule, you will see a list of crew based on the user's setup. By selecting a crew, here you see the general details set up in the user setup for this crew member. These are the passport and visa details for this crew. You can set up as many passports and visas for a particular crew. Here you set up the licenses, qualifications, and the type ratings that this particular crew has. Checks and trainings is a setup of all the checks and trainings that are valid or invalid or about to expire for this particular crew. The ones in green are valid, the ones in yellow are about to expire. And these are the type-related checks and trainings. There are general checks and trainings as well. As you can see, this one has already expired. And the availability tab shows you the availability for this crew. Navigating back, you can see that this crew has been flying, it's on days off, it's on annual leave. Leaves for crew have to be entered here as well. You do that by selecting New, selecting a leave type from a customized leave type list that you would set up yourself. Select the dates and times and save. Any checks and trainings that are to be scheduled will be done from here as well. You would select the particular record, select schedule, and then enter the schedule details. So once we have the crew and the aircraft set up, we can now go on to the operations part. Now that we have set up the aircraft and the crew, we will now proceed to create flights and roster the crew on their different duties. In the setup, you may set up flight types, the different types of flight that the company operates, the flight crew's check-in and check-out times, the cabin crew's check-in and check-out times, the crew complement required for each type of flight, and any special qualifications required for each type of flight. You would then create a list of routes that the company operates. And here you see the route name, the flight number for each route, the departure and arrival for each sector of the route, STD and STA, and the block time. Once the routes are created, you may create flights, as we see in this flight list, where we have the date, the flight number, call sign, departure, arrival, airports, and so on. These columns here show if a flight has been rostered, if the pre- and post-flight checklists have been completed, or if the post-flight data entry has been completed or not. For all of these, if it's a red circle, it means it's not completed. A green circle means it has been completed. Going on to the ops board, this is an interactive process, a graphical view, where you may add rosters to crew, flight and non-flight. Along the left, we have crew names, and hovering over a crew gives you more details about the crew. The board can be viewed in a day view, a week view, or a month view. The red line shows the date and time now in UTC. As we can see, UTC has been ticked here, hence the board is viewed in UTC time. Along the top, you have the days of the month that have been selected. And these are the different duties. Hovering over each duty gives you more details about it. This is an office duty, standby duty. These yellow lines show that a check or training has expired, so it gives you more details when you hover over it. To roster any crew, you may select a cell, hold the control key down, and select another cell for another crew member. Select two cells together by clicking and dragging while holding the control key down at the same time. And you may select as many days for as many crew as you wish. Right click and then select the type of duty that you wish to enter. Positioning, standby, office, contactable, or day off. These are the non-flying duties. Selecting a particular duty or day off brings up a list of the crew that have been selected, the dates, and the number of days off to be given. These are the default start and end dates and times, and these may be edited if you wish. Once you are happy with this, you may click on Save. If for any reason there is a clash or an exceedance when you are saving a duty or a day off, you will see the details over here. Similarly, you may also add flight duties by selecting a cell, holding the control key down, and in order to select a flight duty, all the crew selected must be for the same day. Right-click, select flight duty. This provides a list of the flights on that particular day. Select the flight, and this opens up a pop-up screen with the flight details and the crew details loaded. By clicking on this plus, you see the flight details. This is the crew complement that has been entered. And this is the route that has been selected, the type of flight, and the times of the flight. In this section up here, you see the available crew. And down here, you see the crew that we have selected. It tells you whether the crew is acclimatized or not to that particular airport, what type of operation it is, an early start, night, late finish, or a normal operation. That's the duty on times, which may be amended if required, the duty off time, which may be amended again as required. If there is a split duty, then you may enter the split on and split off times. The extension in FDP will be automatically calculated and added onto the max FDP. This shows you the FDP for this particular flight and the duty hours for that particular flight and for the particular person. Here you may select if a crew is operating the flight, which is a tick, positioning on that flight, which is a filled in square, or not operating, which would be empty. You may also select crew from the continued FTP tab or the standby tab. And these three, the FDTL exceedance tab shows you the crew that have exceeded in their FDTLs and you may not roster them. Crew that have expired checks and trainings and qualifications, and crew that are unavailable for any other reason. Once you are happy with the crew you have selected, you may select Save. You may also change the person selected by selecting and hitting the minus and selecting another crew and adding. Once you save, the ops board is updated with the flights created. After rostering and after the day of operations, the dispatchers may enter the post-flight data entry from the flight list. The flight must be in the past in order to complete either today or in the past for the dispatchers to be able to do the flight data entry. So you may select a flight, select flight entry, and this will load up the data that had been rostered, the crew that would have been rostered on this flight. In case no crew had been rostered, then this section remains empty. If crew had been rostered for this flight, they would be entered in here. In either case, you would enter the log number of the journey log or the tech log You would select the crew. The duty on time, duty off time is automatically selected based on the times of the flight and the setup in the flight types and report times. And you may select which sectors of this flight the crew is operating. You would then go into each sector, select the commander for that particular flight, select the blocks off, the takeoff, landing, and blocks on time. You would go through each sector to enter the times for each sector. If there is any discretion report to be added, you may do that. And once you're happy with what has been entered, you may save. This updates the flight data entry, and the flights on the ops board are updated as well. You may go and select a past date as well and view the flights on the ops board, flights and non-flight duties for the crew in that period. The date selected in here is the start date of the month. So now we are viewing from the 21st of May to the 20th of June. As you can see here, there are many more duties. You may also select a week view, which provides a little more detail. And on each duty, you can see more details about it as well, or you may hover over it. Once we have entered all our details, we also have a number of reports that we can access. We have the single crew roster report, cumulative duties report, crew utilization report, a roster summary report, and a utilization summary report. You may select the type of report, the date from and to that you want to print the report for, whether you want to print the report for all the positions or only for one particular position, and check this if you want to select it for all crew, uncheck if you want to select a couple of different crew, and you may deselect a crew by clicking on a selected one. And then click on show, and this will print the report that has been selected up here. With this, we conclude our demo of the flight operations system of AerFLIGHT. Thank you for joining us.